Chef Pat and Cooking Meat present a Cooking Meat holiday special from the Portland Holiday Timeshare with your host, Chef Pat.
Hey, what are you guys doing here? Happy Thanksgiving! Yeah, this is where I come up for the holidays. It's the Portland Holiday Timeshare. You're just in time. We're about to make Thanksgiving dinner. I got in last night, so I didn't have time to go shopping. But the future is now. We DoorDash all the ingredients for a Thanksgiving dinner. Turkey, potatoes, fresh vegetables for stuffing. You know it's one of my favorites. I love making homemade stuffing. Pumpkin pies, apple pies, strudels, yams, a whole ham, hot apple cider, cold apple cider, a whole jar of Cosmos kimchi, collard greens, mac and cheese, 4 cans of SpaghettiOs, wild-caught Gulf shrimp, apples, celery, pig's feet, all kinds of squash. All this, it's a cornucopia of squash. Turkey lumpias. We just gotta wait for the DoorDash to arrive. Oh, looks like it's already here. No. No. Substitution? What do you mean no turkey? It's Thanksgiving Day. Oh no. Well, Thanksgiving's ruined. I come up here to the Portland Holiday Timeshare to escape my problems, not to create more. I didn't bring Mrs. Meat and the Meat Babes for a reason. I also don't know where they are, but we'll worry about them later. Right now, there's a much more pressing issue. What the hell are we gonna cook on Thanksgiving? Turkey, fucking herbs, This has got to be worse than the Thanksgiving of 1841. Got a little bit of turkey. I had wanted fresh cranberries, but we got some Are these open? Motherfucker. So we're just gonna have to do what we gotta do. Thanksgiving will continue. So in the spirit of America, the spirit of Thanksgiving, of cooking meat, and the Dallas Cowboys, we will go on, no matter how bad it gets for us. Fuck it, we're making meatloaf. Gobble gobble, bitches. Thanksgiving meatloaf. That's what we're doing. Pretty sure we're about to invent a whole new dish. We're gonna put a Thanksgiving dinner inside a turkey meatloaf. So the next time when your DoorDasher ruins your holidays, you'll have a backup plan and you'll know what to do. First thing you wanna do when you make a meatloaf is you're gonna wanna soak some bread in milk. Old bread, not old moldy bread, old stale hard bread. The harder the better. Perfect. Rip this up into pieces. It doesn't even have to be uniform. This is exactly how the Pilgrims would have done it, except they would have used squirrel meat and raccoon milk. So we have our old bread all chunked up, just like that. Then we're gonna take our cow's milk. We couldn't find any raccoon's milk, so it's not gonna be an authentic recipe. But we're just gonna pour it in to cover the bread like that, so it just kind of soaks up. And let that sit, and what we want to do is we want the old bread to absorb all that milk. So it's not gonna be milky when we do it, it's going to be almost doughy, and that's gonna kind of be the base of the meatloaf. So while our bread is soaking, meatloaf is pretty basic. So the whole point of a meatloaf is you have ground meat of any kind, mix it with some bread or something, that's where the loaf comes from, oats, something like that. Maybe some vegetables, maybe some garlic, some onions, some bell peppers, and an egg, and you basically that. You mix it all together and form a loaf. When you cook them, you can cook them in like a bread pan and actually make a legit loaf. I thought we were gonna have a whole turkey, so I don't have a bread pan. I have a turkey roasting pan. We're gonna make do before all hell breaks loose. So next thing we're gonna do, real simple, is we're gonna just finely dice an onion. So that's half an onion into our little bread mixture. We'll let that all kind of sit and soak up together. So then the last thing for this, we like things a little spicy around here in the Cooking Meat kitchen, in the Portland Holiday Timeshare. So we're gonna add a little bit of Louisiana hot sauce to this mix. Just a couple dashes. It's got some vinegar, it's got some peppers, splash of salt. Then we're gonna mix this up and we're just gonna let it all soak in that milk together. You can already smell the vinegary hot sauce from it. And look, you can see, and you can see the milk that we poured in is already starting to get absorbed. There's a lot less liquid than there was even just a few minutes ago. You wanna let this soak for like half an hour to really let all that milk get absorbed into the bread. So while we're letting that soak up, my favorite side dish in Thanksgiving has always been mashed potatoes and gravy. It's a hit every time. It's my favorite side dish for most occasions, even not holidays, just dinner. People like to overcomplicate mashed potatoes. But mashed potatoes are very simple. You only need a few ingredients. I only make mashed potatoes with Yukon Golds. That is the potato that the Great Spirit created for mashed potatoes specifically. So we're gonna do maybe like 4 potatoes. We'll do 5 potatoes. We left Super Peeler at home, so we just have the Portland Holiday Timeshare peeler. I remember many a holidays spent here in Portland, Oregon, collecting wild huckleberries, mushroom hunting through the Cascades, lines of cocaine out of a stripper's asshole. So much cocaine as a child. And my favorite memory, hot air balloons over the city at sunset. Ah, Portland, how you've always held my heart. Except for that one Thanksgiving I got carjacked. And they didn't even steal my car. They just sat in there and chain smoked cigarettes all night, blasting Tom Petty. Portland. Now, as always, when you boil anything in water, you need to add salt. You're gonna add some good salt. We'll turn up the heat and we'll let that boil. Well, I guess it's time to make the stuffing. At least it's ready in 5 minutes. Honestly, I don't think I've ever made stuffing out of a box before, so. Cooking stuffing from a box. The way you wanna do this is, you basically just follow the instructions. Oh, no way. Yeah, so we're good. Let's get going. We don't have any measuring cups here in the Portland Holiday Timeshare, so we're just gonna pray to the Thanksgiving gods that this cup is 10 ounces. Next, it calls for a big chunk of butter. Technically 4 tablespoons. And then all you do is you just mix it in. You can cook this in the microwave. Like stuffing ramen. Oh, okay. It's like all the ingredients of stuffing that's just been dehydrated. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I guess if you're it's concentrated. The flavor is concentrated. While we're doing that, you know what we'll do is we'll get our oven preheated to 375 for our meatloaf. You can do meatloaves a couple different ways when you have it, especially if it's a bread pan. You can cook it like a loaf of bread. So you can let it go on higher heat for longer in the bread pan because the insulation of the bread pan will kind of make that center a little bit longer to cook. We don't have that, so we're gonna use a turkey roasting pan. Probably won't need to cook it as long. It'll cook more like a roast instead of like a loaf. But still should turn out fine. Should be fine. It's gonna be fine. Thanksgiving is gonna be fine. And that looks like fucking stuffing. We'll do a little more water. Wow, look at that. That is instant stuffing. Crazy what a box can do in 5 minutes that I spend all day doing. Fuck, man, that tastes good. Do they put sage? So now the stuffing's done, we'll just let that sit. Well, so I had planned for cooking about 7 hours today. It's been about 20 minutes and we're almost done. I think what we're gonna do now is we'll just, God damn it. All right, meatheads, our mashed potatoes have been boiling for a few minutes. They're getting close. The last little piece that we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little bit of cranberry sauce. I asked for fresh cranberries because it's always good to get fresh cranberries, but dried cranberries will work too. The thing you gotta know about dried cranberries is there's usually sugar added. So if you're adding sugar to make your sauce, just know that it's going to be sugary already. First step, in. The next step we're gonna do is we're just gonna cover it with water. Then the last thing we're gonna add for this is we're gonna add a little bit of sugar. Wherever Europeans went across the new world and unexplored lands, they brought sugar with them. Sugar can travel well, it can preserve things, you can make a lot of stuff with it, so sugar has been kind of a staple throughout the colonial times. We are going to add a little bit of sugar. Shoot, where's the sugar? I don't know if I brought sugar. No, wait. Always got a little bit of sugar at the Portland Holiday Timeshare. So we'll probably add, let's say, 3 of these guys at first, and then we'll see. I need sugar and water. All right, give that a little bit of a mixy poo, and we'll let that do its thing. Oh yeah, that's gonna be perfect the first time. So let's check our potatoes. We just wanna make sure the fork can go all the way through them without any real resistance, which is exactly that. Okay, so these are done. So next we're going to drain the water. So then now that our potatoes are drained, they're softened, they're cooked, we're gonna add a generous portion of butter. Then we're gonna add some fresh cracked pepper. I'm not gonna add salt right now because I salted the water. I don't wanna add salt now because I don't know how salty it is. So once I mix this all together, I'll taste it, then I'll know how much more salt to add. These potatoes, you just really just give them a quick mash like that. So they've already just fallen apart instantly. The butter is what's gonna help get it nice and soft and creamy. So I'm just gonna mix this butter in. And as I whisk the butter in, it's also mashing the potatoes further and adding a little bit of air into it to make them fluffy. Every once in a while, the Portland Holiday Timeshare, one of my chores was to go out back and churn the butter for dinner. This isn't exactly the same thing, but boy, does it bring back memories. So now at this point, what I'm gonna do, look at those. They're really nice and fluffy and pliable, and they definitely need a little more salt. Not a lot more, a little more. So just add a little bit of salt. We'll whisk that one more time. Perfect. Perfect mashed potatoes. 4 ingredients. 5 if you count water. Potatoes, butter, salt, pepper. So let's check this guy. And I think that's done. If you want, at this point, you can take a blender and blend it up and make it a little more smooth. We're gonna keep it chunky because we don't have a blender. All right, so now all the parts of the meatloaf are ready. So let's build our actual meatloaf. This is gonna be fun, you guys. So now checking back, if you'll see, almost all the milk has been absorbed. There's a little tiny bit at the bottom, but that is just fine. So now we're gonna add all of our stuff to it. There's really no particular order that's necessary to do this. You can put all the ingredients in any order you want or whatever, so don't take this part, whatever. I'm just gonna do it this way. I will add the meat first, and then I'll add all the stuff to it. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's get a little dirty. Turkey 2 times. Just right in there like that. And we aren't sponsored by them, but we can safely say, don't try and order a whole turkey on Thanksgiving Day. All right, so now we're gonna add our seasonings. In a traditional meatloaf, I like to add ketchup and mustard into it. It almost makes like a little barbecue-y sauce to it. We don't have ketchup and mustard at the Portland Holiday Timeshare. I wasn't planning on doing a turkey meatloaf. So we're gonna add what we got here. Well, first we're gonna add some salt. Obviously, why? Some garlic powder. So I don't have any fresh garlic either. We're gonna add some oregano, paprika. We're gonna add some deli mustard. It's a little sweet, it's a little spicy, it's a little Dijon-y. So it's gonna work perfect for what we're doing here. We're gonna add some lemon zest to this shit. We're also gonna add just a touch of lemon juice, not a lot, just to add a little acidity, but we don't wanna add a lot of lemony flavor. We're gonna kinda get that from the lemon zest. So this is just to add a little acidity. And the very last ingredient, 1 whole egg. 1 whole turkey egg. Now we're going to just incorporate this all together. We're gonna smush it all down, mix together, just to help cook things evenly when we form it into a loaf. You know what? We're gonna have to do this the Pilgrim way. Oh yeah, that's gonna be really nice. So now we're in the final step of the meatloaf. Our oven is preheated. All of our parts are together. We are going to make our meatloaf. I was planning on cooking a whole turkey, so we're gonna use this and we're just gonna hope that it holds shape. So we're gonna take about half, just plop it right down in here like that. And we're gonna form a little trench like this, like so. And I'm free, free falling, and I'm free. The fucking Portland Timeshare. All right, so now we're gonna stuff the meatloaf. First, we're gonna do mashed potatoes. Put it right in there. Now we'll do a little bit of stuffing. Grandma's own. This actually might turn out pretty good. As this thing starts to come together, this actually might work. I'm no hero. I'm just a guy dressed as a pilgrim on vacation in his Portland Holiday Timeshare, doing the best he can with Thanksgiving. We're gonna add our cranberry chunky sauce. The last thing we're gonna do is we're going to put the top layer of meatloaf on. So we're gonna put this in the oven, 375. Now this is a big fucker. I bet you this takes about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. We're just gonna put it in there. We're gonna let that big old chunk of meat cook up. Now, normally, if you're roasting a whole turkey, it's gonna take 6 hours maybe. Could even take 7 hours depending on the size. I have rotisserie turkey, I've deep fried a turkey, I've slow roasted a turkey. But I'm gonna guess, because it's about 3 pounds of turkey, that it's gonna take about an hour and a half. Why don't we relax, grab a beer, and watch the Cowboys lose. Oh, welcome back, friends. Our meatloaf has been roasting at 375 for about an hour and 40 minutes. And we just checked on it, and I gotta say, I think we might have done something here. Let's check this puppy out. That is a monster meatloaf. This is the kind of thing that can only be done here at the Portland Holiday Timeshare. So we're gonna let this guy cool before we cut into it. So while the meatloaf rests, we are going to make just an easy sage butter. And it is 2 ingredients, sage and butter. We have some fresh sage. We're gonna throw like a sprig in there. We're just gonna drop a whole big chunk of butter. We're gonna let the butter melt down, and we're not gonna let it burn, but we're gonna let it like fry the sage. So, and when that is done, we'll just pour it on top, and then we'll cut it open, and we'll see if we're gonna have ourselves a little Thanksgiving dinner after all. Crazy that DoorDash could find sage, but not a whole turkey. And the reason why we're gonna do this is because the ground turkey is pretty lean. There's not a lot of juice, not a lot of drippings, there's not a lot of fat in it. We are just going to kind of give it a layer of fat just to add a little depth of flavor. The butter is starting to brown a little bit. It's starting to take on a little bit of a deeper color. And that's two things, is because we're kind of cooking the butter on high, and it's also starting to crisp up and burn the sage and absorb a lot of that flavor. All right, so that took about 10 minutes tops. And you can see the butter is now brown. So now we have a brown butter for the sage. I'm gonna take that sage out, give it a little bit on top of just the turkey, just to kind of let it roll down. And we're also gonna save a little bit and do it kind of individually. So that's got a nice little brown butter sage to it. Get this, oh yes. So that's definitely a loaf, but I don't wanna ruin its beautiful shape. So I'm gonna leave it just like that. And let's see what we got. Oh. We have Thanksgiving dinner inside a turkey meatloaf. All right, Thanksgiving's been saved. I am so excited about this. Let's cut a slice. So that is our slice of Thanksgiving dinner. I'm gonna add a little more brown butter on it, just to kind of give it a little, just a couple pieces of like picked parsley. I'm super stoked about this. Now we've got our turkey meatloaf, the brown sage butter. The whole Thanksgiving dinner stuffed inside that thing. This might be one of my proudest moments, honestly. All right, the last thing to do, give it the old college try. All right, so I want to try and get a little bit of everything. So I'm just gonna dive right in here. Piece of cranberry, some stuffing, some turkey, some brown butter. It's got, I mean, imagine a Thanksgiving plate just all mixed together and then just having a bite. The turkey meatloaf gives it a little bit of a different texture, the ground turkey, so it's not like a roast turkey. There's no gravy, so it's kind of missing that, but like the stuffing, the potato, the chunks of cranberry sauce, it all goes so well together. Dang. The mashed potatoes in the middle give it like this soft cream. So it's almost like, you know, when you have like bread that's like hard on the outside and like soft and mushy on the inside, it almost has that texture to it. All the savory from the stuffing goes so well with the sweet from the cranberry. So in between the two, you have this like firm, savory turkey texture. You have this soft, creamy potato texture. Then you have this savory poultry stuffing flavor. Then you have the sweet cranberry flavor, and then you just tops it all off with a little bit of butter and sage for some aromatics. This is actually pretty good. I gotta say, this looks beautiful, tastes great. You know what? I can definitely say, if you're ever alone on Thanksgiving and you don't have the ingredients that you expected to have, make a fucking meatloaf. Dude, we might have to do like a whole series about meatloafs. Dude, make it a meatloaf, right? Prime rib meatloaf, pad thai meatloaf. All right, meatheads. Thank you so much again for joining us for another great holiday season. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It's all about bringing family together, sitting across the table from one another, sharing a meal, sharing love, sharing the stories of the past year and what you're grateful for, which is exactly why I'm here by myself at the Portland Holiday Timeshare. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.